and welcome back to our continued coverage of the Agora tournament series. My name is TJDJ. Joining me is going to be a very spicy tuna roll. It's going to be an absolute blast of a cast. This is our coverage of the Professors versus Slimes Temp. It's going to be fantastic. We were watching that broadcast with the Professors taking down TF, and so we're pretty hyped for this one.
That was awesome. I know we were talking a bit before about in each draft, and we were planning things on win conditions and talking about this, and we had such an amazing time seeing the teams develop. I know we've both been watching tournaments throughout the last few months since Predecessor was released, and it's so much fun to see the journey these teams have gone on. I'm really excited to be here to analyze and work with you.
Absolutely, and I think one of the themes we've been touching on throughout is that, especially in like early tournament games like this, where the predecessor's only been out a couple of months, so we're still very much in that infancy, and a lot of teams are finding out, are they sinking or are they swimming, essentially, and with how much like the metas are changing, item builds, we still haven't found that true meta. So honestly, it's kind of the Wild West, and we are all here for it. It's brilliant. Just doing a little bit of self-plugging as well. So of course, you can follow myself on Twitter. I also do stream as well. Spicy Tuna Roll's got a fantastic YouTube channel where you can watch 2 weeks ago the Howie Bowl, I think happened as well on Tuna's channel. So go check that out.
Yeah. My YouTube, I do a lot of analysis and gameplay from different tournaments. I accept VOD reviews from other players. Currently working with several top 100 players to get their VODs out and kind of analyze the game for people to see and learn and grow. Because that's what we're all kind of here for. So I'm definitely here to do that. If you guys ever need someone to analyze gameplay, feel free to shoot me a message on Discord or on Twitch.
I just make bad jokes, basically. That's kind of my contribution to the predecessor esports scene. But hey, some people like it, some people don't. Brilliant. Anyway, so we have got, let's have a little goosey gander at that bracket as well. So we are going to be on the right-hand side for the Professors versus Slimes Temp. The other quarterfinals between TOS, Ratchrist Gaming, and Press Tab and Team Immune still going on. But you can see some results starting to come through. TOS are reigning champions, taking that first game off Ratchrist Gaming. And also the EU squad, Team Immune, finding a first game win against Press Tab.
Yeah, this is a super nice change of pace because in terms of the predecessor community at large, TOS and Press Tab are some pretty decent sized names. People know them. Same with Team Faded. All these people. Now we have these newer names coming in. I say newer, relatively speaking, of course, coming in and showing us what they've got. And I'm super hyped for this game, especially the Professors versus Slime Temp. I am ready for this.
Yeah, with players coming in, this truly is, as it stands, the highest stage you could be on for you to get your name and your brand out there as well. And we are absolutely loving all of the support in Twitch chat as well. The viewer numbers have been chef's kiss. Beautiful. But you're here to watch some predecessor. I believe we have got a game number 1 draft coming up as well between these two teams. The Professors are going to be your first pick and have got that first ban as well. And I'm wondering, Tuna, if we're going to see very similar bans to that first game. Well, Steel was one of them, but likes of this Muriel still available. Rampage was a ban as well.
There it is. Ooh, there it is. So we were talking in chat for the last series, and we were mentioning different combos, different theories that we have for drafting, and we've seen that Steel is still really strong. I'm sure a lot of you guys have felt this in your solo queue games, but Richter, even though he got hit with a bit of a nerf, he's still one of the leading tanky supports out there, especially as a flex pick. So it's really fun to see these both coming out.
Yes, and you have so much to offer as well. It feels like you've got a phenomenal engage, probably one of the best team fighting engaging abilities in there with that shield crash coming down. That shield, the wall you can put up, the stun. It's like anything you need the Steel to do, they are happy to oblige. But the characters you can see in color are, of course, going to be the picks. So the Gideon Countess Crunch taken for Slimes Temp, but we do get to see this Muriel, who did recently get a little bit of love in the patch notes. So we are been quite interested in seeing what this Muriel can do.
Yeah, as a Muriel main myself, I'm loving this. I'm loving this pick. Seeing this team fight comp come out here for the Professors. I love this. This is centered around mid to late game team fighting and a bit of early skirmishing from the Rampage to get their team rolling. But my God, am I ready for this? You got the Drongo for late game, and we're going to end with a Severog. Okay. Ooh. I'm sure you're happy about that one.
Oh, absolutely. I did joke about this and said that there's a reason that Sevarog's been unchanged since his release way back in the original Paragon, because Sevarog is without flaw. Brilliant character, but brilliant drafts as well to round out here. You can see Narmash, Grux, and Murdoch finishing off the Slimes Temp draft here, and the Professors, of course, rounding out with the Sevarog as well. We have both of these drafts available to us, Tuna, so I put the first Wade question towards you. What are you expecting from these teams? What are their win cons?
I'm all right. So, like I mentioned, professors have drafted this really team fight oriented style. We have one, the Rampage against Snowballing early, but you have the Black Hole from Gideon, who's most likely to branch into that the True Silver bracelet for the ulti immunity and what CC immunity.
Mm-hmm.
We have Sevarog, who's going to scale late game and be a fucking menace in these team fights, and as well as the Drongo, who kind of just scales. Like there's not a question if Drongo will ever be online or an issue. He will be. It's a matter of time, right?
Yeah.
So we're going to want to see the professors kind of hang back a little bit more, get some vision down, fight for maybe tentatively go for some of these objectives, but really focus on their CS and kind of where they're going to put pressure and effort into the map. What's worth it versus what's not to get to that mid to late game stage. Slime Temps, though, they've got a Countess, they've got a Crunch, they've got a Narbash, a Grux, a Murdoch. They're sitting here, and this says to me, we want to pick you. We want you now. Crunch and Grux. Sorry. Whew.
I mean, that's a shit.
It's a couple name. It's now canon. Crunch and Grux going in, starting this out, maybe going off the thunk of a Narbash, and you're having Countess follow up. Like you have this such divey, heavy, aggressive team comp. I am so excited to see how they play around this and how they establish tempo in the early to mid game, because that's going to be where they're going to find success. This comp snowballs just so well, especially with the global reach of that long arm of the law.
Yeah, and going piggybacking off of last game as well, we did see like so many rotations over towards that duo lane side throughout. It was TF really embracing the chaos that they created, and the professors, weathering that storm that was throwing onto their gates as well. As I believe we do have a game loading up. Yes, we do, and the map looks absolutely wonderful. So before we carry on with the announcements, let us know in the Twitch chat. Play some bets. Throw some shade, do all that good stuff. Let us know which team are you rooting for. So we are going to be following Slime's Temp for the purposes of this game. As you can see, all of them members here actually going for a little bit of an adventure over towards that right-hand side. You can see Crazy Fall and Idoc having to back away and respect this one for now. But it looks like no one was caught out on their own here, so it's going to be a simple walk away.
This is a pretty common strategy early on in amongst competitive play, where we've seen people kind of test. We have Countess coming in here on our screen, kind of poke around, seeing where we now have vision on the enemy jungle. Getting vision. This level 1 ward is so important, because I mentioned this before in our private little watch party, but there's a lot of junglers going from blue to red to clear red side, or vice versa, and kind of getting that proximity of one to both buffs are going to help you with your clears, keep you healthy, but then give you pressure on the other side of that map. So this is I really like this ward and tentative kind of like, let's see what we got here. See if any stragglers here.
Well, the importance of data. Knowledge knowing is half the battle, I believe, is the famous quote as well. And just knowing where the opposing jungler is going to start was absolute wonders here. You can see actually in that duo side, the Murdoch just took like half of their HP almost immediately, just face checking that shadow wall as well. So not really the start you want to get when you're talking of tempo advantage. With this Drongo Muriel lane, we get to talk about this duo lane interaction here. Murdoch Narbash versus Drongo Muriel.
Yeah. I think in this matchup, we have a beautiful scaling side of the Drongo Muriel, and they're going to want to play a little bit slower, but the poke coming out from Muriel, I actually don't like the Q start too much from Muriel here. I don't think you're going to do enough damage with it and enough harass where it counteracts the level 2 healing from Narbash when he hits it. I think a consecrated ground, her E, is a lot better and a little bit safer too. It gives it a nice wide area shield for an invade if it happens. It gives that nice little pop damage if you want it, just as a deterrent more than anything. But the Q damage that she hit him with once is going to be kind of negated here. You really want to focus on those shields to keep your carry going, especially with Drongo, who thrives so much off that late game scaling and staying safe and getting there. Even if you can skirmish, even if you can trade, your trades are so much healthier with your shields.
Yeah, and also with the Muriel, you got to talk about the Serenity. Surely, it's the damage in the slow is lovely, but it's anyone affected by the Serenity slow takes 10% increased damage from all sources. This, when hit onto multiple members, can be a game changer as well. So many kills can be as a result of it. You can see the jungler for Slime Temps over on the right hand side. Let's try and make something happen as a gank comes through. We're gonna go back to this crunch and Sevrog over here as well. Very much this bruiser lane, these two solo laners just wanting to wail at each other as well. I'm probably expecting a solo kill from this side, just going by how crunch lane seems to be going here.
Yeah, this is a nice early start. This early gank here on, with the Grogs coming in, forcing the portal out of him, which is a decently long cooldown early. I think it's about 12 to 14 seconds, somewhere in there. Maybe a little bit more level at rank 1. But I like the early pressure being put down from the Grogs, which we kind of usually mostly see out of the Chimeras and the Rampages as well.
Yeah.
Grux is kind of becoming more and more in favor since this last patch hit as a jungler. And I'm really liking it. I like the aggression that Grux can put on display.
Yeah, I always seem to think that the Grux pick is so good at being just a blink burner. Like if you get hit by any form of his multiple avenues of CC, you're gonna force resources out of it. And if you can hit a good enough pull, that's near enough, onto this Strongo. Probably expecting, blinks coming out here. You just have to respect that amount of early game damage and pressure that can come out. Of course, that first gank didn't go the way. It just made their presence known for now. So we are approaching 5 minutes with no kills on the board, and we've not actually seen the Rampage pop up just yet. So we're in the dark as much as Slime's Temp here as well. Where is that Rampage?
I mean, we can. So when it comes to knowledge on the enemy jungler, this jungle tracking is so important. I can't even talk.
That was I passed it over because it's like, oh, just got a little bit of trading, it's going to be fine. But all of a sudden, Tron just steps to the right hand side, goes to the funk, and just eats so much damage from those uranium rounds. And there is a Rampage making their presence known in mid lane. It's going to actually collect that river buff, but the meteor dropped. A bit of healing coming from the Solar Blaze. Blue Jay is here as well, looking for a knock up onto two members, but First Blood goes the way of IDOC, and Blue Jay just has to watch as his mid laner falls, but he might be on the receiving end of a bit of bother himself, or at least get back into his own territory. But great start for the Professors. First Blood.
Yeah, I mean, I understand why the Countess went for the green buff. I get it. You want to get that little bit of healing. That shield might help you get out. May survive a little longer because Grux was clearly on the way. I think you got to run. I think you got to just sprint out and try to survive. And it is only one kill. First Blood gives you a little bit extra gold. It's not the end of the world. In a competitive scene, though, you definitely want to maximize what you have going on. You definitely don't want to give an inch, because these teams like Slime Temps won the Howie Bowl, and they won it convincingly. Professors just put on display and beat Team Faded. Like, these teams are raring to go. They're good players, good teams in general. You don't want to give an inch. You really can't afford to.
No, because I think with the Professors, especially in that game we watched earlier on the broadcast, casted by the other fantastic Lance and Man of Class as well, is the Professors did such a fantastic job of punishing mistakes throughout that one. It was always TF just overextending a little bit, overcommitting to an objective, and the Professors were there to deliver quite a schooling in those team fights, especially when it all starts to go down. But for now, the bleeding isn't completely out of control. As you say, it is only that one kill, not completely out of the woods. And you can see Six actually following through onto the Sevrog. Colossal blow underneath the tower. Going to take one shot as well, but Sevrog doesn't have that subjugate to confirm it as well. But meanwhile, we see action in the mid lane once again. The Countess, though, it was a kill, and now it's going to be a second one. And also, IDOC picking up Blue Jay once again. Is going to be 3 kills to 0 on that kill feed for now, and all of it coming off the back of the Rampage ganks.
Yeah, I mean, the Rampage, again, is so good at creating this early game pressure and establishing tempo, and that's really what we want to see. We want to see that out of this jungle to create tempo as they go in here. You go for like a nice little trade-off on the Gideon pulls back. Nothing crazy, just some pressure.
Yeah, just a little bit of a missed time to catch that blink on the way back. Just a fraction off there.
Well, I want to point something out here. The timing of this fight's really nice. You have Grux on his red buff. Moving over, you have the enemy mid lane backing, and the enemy dual lane's pushing up. You could actually probably set the 3 or 4 man gank here into a Fangtooth if you timed it through this window. I think that could be a missed opportunity here to help establish and further tempo that we were talking about and keep the enemy team from mounting a snowball.
Sure, here, because you can imagine now that Soul Reaper is gone back to lane as well, so probably in position to follow with a counter rotation, but the counter from the Countess is coming out, take Crazy Fool Survivor, immediately backing away. I think they did have the ward down. The presence of the Countess is known, however. You can see Soul Reaper did start to match it here, but Blue Jay still looming around at least. Does not want to have this Countess fall behind any further. It's not been the fantastic start. Rampage appears here.
Boulder.
Does take a funk. The boulder toss goes wide. Once again, resources committed to both sides, but it's only basic abilities. We're back to equilibrium.
Yeah, I definitely like that. I think good play, good thunk off from the Narbash. I were talking about Narbash a little earlier and how I don't really like Narbash right now in this meta. I don't think he's provides enough for the team as a support where others could. At the same time, this Narbash is being played really well. They're playing around it. I like the build of the early Braid, which will branch into a Requiem late. I say late. Off his first, probably second item. Most people go Braid into something else, where it's probably Crystal Tier. You can do True Silver, which is fine. You have a lot of things you can do here. However, that's a first Fangtooth.
Yeah, we did see the Drongo actually go behind that veil at least, and this is in the game as it currently stands, we can't see the Professor's point of view from here, so we are relying very much on Slime's Temp's warding vision to see what is going on here. They do sneak that Fangtooth, and now they're going to strove for the mini prime as well. The Black Hole over the top will be secured with the smite though, but a lot of damage onto Blue Jay, and he is going to go down. And Severon rotating over here as well. Six having to blink away from the Rampage in a very nice back heel. Actually, wait, there's a flying Narbash who just dropped straight into the middle of all 4 members. This is a one-man percussion band, but it looks like they did not like the performance. Not sure what happened there, Tuna.
That's a burned blink right there. So you see him going out there and trying to... I couldn't tell if he was... It looked like he was trying to leave. To me, trying to jump and blink over the back of the pit. But regardless, he got caught there, burned his blink early, and that's a huge cooldown now up for Narbash. And I want to see Professors capitalize on this, because that's huge. That you burned 3 blinks, I want to say. 2 or 3 blinks in that play, if I counted that right. I'm also probably blind a little bit, but at the same time, this tempo mounting that I keep bringing us back to, right? The Professors are doing such a good job of controlling this. They got the first Fangtooth. They're putting pressure down in different areas of the map with their vision. They're doing a really good job. This is a nice change of pace from what we saw in that mid to late game of the last Team Faded series, where they kind of dropped the ball a bit. It seems like it's a lot tighter.
Yeah,
for lack of a better term.
Yeah, for sure. As I say, there was a lot of chaos in that last one, and the Professors rose above it and controlled that chaos. But for now, we are seeing discipline. We're seeing very, pretty standard MOBA tactics here. It is, what is my objective? What do we need to do for this? Well, we need wards, we need knowledge, we need vision right now. Where is everyone? Do we have a pick? Yes or no? Can we do this objective? Do we want to turn and burn it, or do we want to commit to it as well? There's so many decisions that can be made here, and it's really fascinating to see as well different teams that own ethoses on how the game should be played. Ward vision has been very good for Slime Temps inside that river, but you see the Rampage over on the right hand side jungle. The boulder toss hit the wall. Yeah, that one could have been lethal with that Murdoch with the Nautilus Rampage looking around, but over left hand side though, the Countess first kill on the board, getting that passive starting to stack. That's going to feel great.
It really is here, and I love the I love how they're using the vision. I love this blink out from the Countess. That using the minions to escape, such a good tactic when you have that targeted dash. Using the minions to your advantage just goes such a long way. I do want to pull attention to this now, because you have the first tower going down, what I affectionately call first brick instead of first blood, in the left lane for the side of Slime Temps. This is going about how we expected. It's bloodier than we thought. I think the Drongo has 1 to 2 kills here. I want to say off the top of my head. It's so tough not to be able to see the tab and hit the board.
Of course, yeah.
They've got.
It is
I know,
times where we want to manifest a scoreboard right now. Someone please press stop, but we can see. But you know,
regardless, this is bloodier than we thought we would see out of a lot of the Drongo and the Muriel here, especially in the 5v5 format. And I love that they're taking that time, and then Slime Temps is not giving an inch. They're not buckling. They're not going, okay, well, we gave that up. Right? We can't necessarily take that right now, so let's back up, get vision, and just they're definitely stepping up. And this is huge for a competitive scene. If you want to play competitively, you have to keep your cool, especially when put behind.
Of course, it's where teams are really, it's learning to swim by being thrown in the deep end. Near enough, and add a few sharks into the water against some of the higher teams we have here as well. It's such a good test as well. You're testing your mental, your IGL, whether or not it's a dedicated member or is it more of a community thing. But right now, Slime's Temp, 3 members inside that right-hand side jungle. Mr. Guru on several rotating over. Soul Reaper does take a knock-up, but the Gideon's not going to matter too much about that. Very far forward here as well. The mid laner, just really dancing with death here. We've got that blink. Fangtooth spawning soon. This is where a battle is going to erupt. But just waiting on who blinks first. The engage coming out onto Gideon. Good knock-up, good CC chain as well. But again, not over-committing now. The counter's going to go forward. Looking for the consume as well. Gideon so low HP, having to back away. And now with the inspired March going to move on to the Fangtooth. They're going to try and do it off of this Gideon's repull.
I mean, this is free, basically. Red Page is going to come here and try and steal it, but honestly, this was so well done, and they did a great job dividing the team. They came from different angles. You had 3 members towards the towards the entry of the Fangtooth pit, and Crunch, played by 6 here off to the side, kind of zoning back with the Countess wrapping around the other side. That is such a beautiful way to help divide up the team fight, and which is the whole goal of the professors. They want to team fight. They want to be together. They want to work on their combos. They have this beautiful wombo combo between the Gideon, the knockups, all with the Muriel. So, they have such a great job doing it. If you can divide them, you lose that efficiency. You lose that effectiveness that comes into their team fight, and that is so well played on the side of Slime.
Yeah, Slime's Temp definitely playing around the map and that verticality as well. These walls just feel so much taller when you're actually down here inside the game as well, and watching teams play around it, and also want to see where. And it comes from the vision game, right? It comes from that warding as well. It's knowing, right, well, if player X and Y are over here, then we're going to go on to player Z, sort of thing. So you can see the playbook starting to come out from these teams as well, how they want to go about. But we're still waiting, Tuna, for that big haymaker punch, a big team fight, multiple members dropping and a good tempo advantage. For now, you can see Slime Temps really want to start this fight here over on the left hand side, the Grux and the Crunch as well. Trying to loop around, looking for a funk on Soul Reaper. Will find it at least. Mini Prime looks like they want to start up as well, but the professors, they seem to be ready in position here.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to get the big punch you're looking for until the next Fangtooth, which is the 3rd and final one before Prime will start to spawn. We'll see some skirmishing like this happen right here as they're going in here.
Okay, yeah, it's going to be the knock-up on towards the Murin as well. The Gideon's here, it's back up as well. A black hole over the top as well. But Seismic has got the first pick and it's going to be answered back. It's 1-for-1 for now. But the black hole onto multiple members, that is a huge knock-up onto so many. But now what can Slime's Temp do with it? In full retreat now out of the jungle. The roots come down. Serog Shadow Dash over the top. But the good knock-up interrupts that immediately. Murdoch having to use the cleanse as well. Laying down as much damage as they can. But health bars are not dropping quick enough. Gideon gets 1. And it's going to be another falling. 4 members drop outside the mini prime, and the professors have turned up.
And here's the strength we're talking about. Here's the fight. Here's the team fight. Here are the combos. Here is the strength that we're seeing the professors fight to, and that they kind of have trouble fighting to at this point in the last series, where they kind of lost sight of their win condition. This is really well done. They didn't let the stuff get split up. They took their time to set up the engage in the fight, and I would love to see, or hear rather, the voice comms on who's calling what, because that affects so much here. But regardless, this is such a beautiful job and team fight from the side of the professors. They played to the win condition so well there. and not even to the detriment of saying Temps or Slime didn't play as well. I mean, they lost the fight, obviously. At the same time, though, they really can't afford to take on these full-on team fights every time.
Yeah. I believe in that fight as well. I think it was a reversal of fortune knock-up into Soul Reaper with that black hole. Got so much value out of it as well. And this is what you want to see from teams as well. It's like you establish your win conditions, then you really do have to squeeze it for all that it is worth as well. Granted, sometimes feels like teams are squeezing water from a stone, but right now, this is looking pretty good. You know, right-hand side could be another engage actually from Slime's Temp, but gone straight into the grenade. Who is engaging on who? I Wonder. The Hunter has become the hunted survivor, getting that pick on the board. They're going to carry on chasing as well, look for a boulder toss. But here comes Soul Reaper with the black hole as well. A crash bang wallop will find free on the knockup, but the Narbash once again falls before he can make anything happen. More kills falling away. The Professors find yet another multiple man team fight.
So we see here this kind of strategy fall apart. We talked about the skirmishing, the dive at the beginning of the game during the draft from the side of Slime as they want to go in and kind of pick. But the problem is when you're going onto a Drongo like this, who is starting to get ahead, starting to get his lead. I think he's probably about 2 items, I would say, about at this point. Probably a little over if they're farming correctly. And you can't do that. You go in on him, he throws a grenade at his feet and walks away. And the rest of his team is there. The problem, my real problem with that is not just
colossal blow. Just went wide, just whiffed, and you know, Dabble does have to try. Sorry, Mr. Guru has to get away from this one. I think the Murdoch subjugates with a double chase from Six, and Seismic's happy to get that kill donated over to them. 4 stacks on the passive now, so you know, still signs of life from Slime's Temp here.
Yeah,
which is he's got all the makings of a really interesting middle game here. In fact, actually wanted to look for Soul Reaper, but hats off to the Gideon. Soul Reaper has been really on point with those teleports.
Soul Reaper is such a key part of this team comp. From the side of the Professors. He does so well in spacing. I love seeing him in solo queue too. Just playing with him. He's so much fun to watch and just play against.
Oh, that's a really good cleanse coming out here. The boulder toss onto the Murdoch, but instantly gets away. And now Soul Reaper with the black hole onto the Narbash as well is going to take down the members, and 2 more will drop. 6 doing the best that they can, but the focus fire, the team fighting coming out from the Professors at this point is truly godlike. Seismic doing what they can. Kaiser is in no position to help out. Just going to stagger the backs here at least. No mana, no 300 HP, slowly ticking down. A lot of time being wasted, to be fair, but the damage was already done.
Yeah, this is super unfortunate because right now what Slime wants to do is play around their Countess, who has the most kills on their team, who's doing the most damage, honestly. You really can't go in and start anything without Countess being in position. When you start to do that, you're going to start dropping the ball in these fights, right? You don't have the correct damage, right? You unfortunately, like I said, the Narbash, you lose a lot with him because he's not a tank. He's big, but he's not that good at taking all this damage, especially in the mid game. He really shines in the late game.
Size, but mage stats, really, for the Narbash.
Yeah, it's a super unfortunate play here, and that's kind of why I was talking about that being something they had to develop early, or they were going to lose out on it, right?
Well, 21 minutes on the board here. You see, with the kills, I think it's 16-4 right now. Just having a little bit of a look around the map, you see where the towers lie. Firm control by the Professors on this map here. That left-hand side shaping up for a very early All Prime here. This does spawn at 20 minutes in, and we don't really have the vision on the tanky members right now. It's only Soul Reaper and Survivor that are looping around that All Prime pick. We've got to assume that it is being started up, and you can see Mr. Gu is doing starting to tank it up as well. 5 members here, but this is now going to be chased into a choke point, but the Professors were waiting for the trap. They're going to try it and burn down. Colossal blow for members, knocked away and knocked out of this one, but a lot of big grouping up as well, and actually the Murdoch can answer one back. Kaiser does take down Survivor. Tron gets a nice knock up, but the damage dealer is already out of this fight, and Professors one by one, the dominoes fall. 6 goes down, so does Tron. 3 more members drop.
Yep, and there we have it. Again, like, there's not much more to say. I don't want to sound like too much like a broken record for the Twitch chat. It's just the professors drafted a beautiful mid to late game team fight comp, and mid game hit around 15-ish minutes, and they've been dominating ever since. It's unfortunate.
A little bit of a 1v1 here. Seismic went in, had the ult available, but Soul Reaper gets the solo kill. That's what that one will go down to. 3 members, bit of tempo advantage. Tier 2 on the left-hand side is going to be dropping as soon as we get... 20 to 5.
20 to 5 kills. Oh,
just
my
those.
God.
I was after one haymaker punch, but I seem to have got more. I've got the full combo coming up here. Yeah. We're still waiting for that uppercut. Well, granted, not from 6, but 6 has been doing some good uppercuts. Fair enough. But the professors want to land now that knockout blow, and you have to feel that one more team fight around that Orb Prime, and they're going to be knocking on the door of these inhibs in that core.
And I want to highlight a strategy that is, or something not a strategy, but something that's going on in this team, in this game, is that Slime seems to be fighting just, not randomly, but seemingly at whim. They haven't really positioned around a lot of objectives yet, where we have
Blue Jay
on the left.
Yeah, Blue Jay went into the pits, but
no one to follow up.
That was a one-way ticket, my friends. I mean, at this point, your prime probably though, that is the Hail Mary attempt from Slime's Temp, trying to get something back here. And actually, if they had got Orb Prime, 6 is in a pretty good position for the split push as well. 3 members on this right-hand side to utilize it. Granted, you lose the Grux, but there's something that can be worked around, and this game probably has another 5 to 10 minutes added onto it. But the professor's starting to clean up here. So that Orb Prime, they haven't found a team fight yet, but the siege coming in. Seismic very far forward on the counter, just trying to proxy some of these waves before they come crashing in at least. But a tier 1, the left-hand inhib will at least go down for now. And the professors are going to play this safe and go back and spend some hard-earned gold.
Yeah, I mean, I also want to highlight the itemization here. We have, like I said, a Braden, a True Silver for Narbash, but True Silver is his only completed item. Like, he doesn't have a whole lot of gold on him right now. And this was a comp you needed to fight with early and skirmish and get pressure and get these early kills to snowball. But now we're at a point where they really don't have a lot of gold income. Now they can farm the left side here, and if they let the wave push into them, that works. But it only works for 1 or 2 players. You can't. They're really going to struggle, and they're going to have to almost rely on the professors to make a mistake. And that's honestly never a good strategy. If you have to rely on the enemy team being bad, then you're probably not in a good spot in the game.
No, it is a pitfall. When you want to improve, you can't, as you say, you cannot rely on your opponents making the mistakes. And the professors, though, definitely have done their homework. They've been the ones doing the lectures at this point. Primal Fangtooth picked up as well. The burn damage, the execute, well, near enough the execute, but the bonus of the increased damage onto low health members as well. If you thought these fights were already very swinging in the favor of the professors, it's now... The odds are seeming very insurmountable, and it looks like from the positioning, like the call is for Slime Temps, reset now, get as much farm as you can, spend your gold, because this might be our last chance at securing game 1 here.
Right.
But I do like the ward coverage.
I do. The Wardian's actually doing really well covering the entrances, and despite what the people you find in solo queue might tell you, wards are probably more important than kills, I'd have to say, with the gathering of information. I know, it's a controversial take, and I'm sure I'll get flamed for it, but that vision, even though it's not winning them the game, it's still providing information. I think 6 needs a back here, though. This is an Orb Prime 5-man rushing in.
Yeah, the core rush, 72%, 69, 5 members. Just on his way on it. It's but the counter is being a little bit annoying right now.
Yeah, nice
the professor's a little bit of hesitancy coming out there. It looked like they were in a good position to get a lot. Well, granted, they did call down to nearly half HP, and now they think they do want that safety pick at least. And Seismic, unfortunately, is going to be the sacrificial lamb for this one, trying to get something out. Stasis comes out as well, but the first pick, the Murdoc's already gone down, and there the second damage dealer will fall. 6. The Grux, the Narbash can only watch as that core starts to tick down in the HP. Crashbang Wallop onto the Serog, reversal of fortune from point blank. Had the stats, but the main one that matters is going to be the victory screen, which is what the professors will see. They take a commanding game 1 in this best of 3 set.
Yeah, and it's It's disappointing actually, because I was talking to you before this. Like, I think Slime Temps is a good spot to win the tournament and go hard for it. But this didn't. I mean, it disappoints me almost, because they abandoned their win condition. They kind of muddled up the early game a little bit, giving a little bit too much to the side of the professors, and then from there they just didn't really. They kept trying to fight and fight and fight, but that's not what you want. You can't afford to do that into a team fight comp that's already ahead. It doesn't really make much sense to me in terms of that.
Yeah, and also with the professors as well, they did a fantastic job, not only closing out the game, hats off to them and all that, but also they know their strength is in a group, and they just kind of deathballed around here. You did not see many times when a solo member would be just on their own, and that's where, if your Slime's Temp is like, we want to pick off these isolated targets. If anyone's pushed up a little bit too wayward, very easy pick, gold in the back pocket, XP. Okay, now we're looking at a 4 versus 5 fight. It's a very different look here for the Professor's composition. We highlighted how important that 5v5 was. But if you take out crucial members, you remove the Gideon. If you got to pick onto even something like the Muriel as well, which I was very impressed by how the Professors were able to utilize that support pick as well. It felt like Slime's Temp, as that game went on, they were just running out of answers. And as you say, they kind of had to default to got to force a fight.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to see, like we mentioned earlier, towards the end of the game, we had a lot of vision put down there, but the effectiveness of the visions also matters, right? Using that vision to gain a pick, to find people out and establish kind of their pathing, that's super important here. And while the game is young, the teams are young, right? It's only been a few months. I really want to see the development and use of that vision to create more advantages, because it's doable, it's useful, it's possible. You still got to be smart enough to use it, and that's the problem. Words alone will get you the victory. When we say vision, we mean the use of the data gathered.
Yeah.
Words. So, I think they need to go back to the drawing board and pick a bit of a smarter draft.
Okay, yeah, but we do have a little bit of a break, give our voices a rest, but for teams to really recuperate, dissect that game as well. Game 2 draft is going to be coming up after a very short break. You don't want to miss it.